You would think that this would happen on a movie, and it happened right in front of your eyes. It's really sad.
15 people were hurt after an alleged drunk driver crashed through a parade in Iberia Parish, slamming into a float during what should have been a joyful annual celebration. Tonight, our team is on the ground with eyewitnesses who recount the chaos and fear they watched friends and neighbors knocked to the pavement. Authorities say the driver is under arrest, and while they don't believe it was intentional, the incident forced organizers to cancel the rest of today's festival. We'll also hear from those organizers themselves with a message of hope in the midst of heartbreak, urging prayers for the recovering families as this tight-knit community begins what could be a long healing process. Good evening and welcome to Acadiana's news channel at 10. I'm Anna Fisher. And what you're seeing here is a local neighborhood in Iberia Parish. This point marks the intersection where a man drove his vehicle into a crowd, injuring several this afternoon. It happened during the neighborhood's annual Lao New Year festival, centered around here near the local Buddhist temple in the Zhonglong village. Our team was on scene all afternoon, and I spoke with law enforcement about what they know so far.
We're currently investigating an incident that happened during a parade where a driver struck multiple civilians.
A celebratory weekend that's been months in the making took a turn for the worst.
There's 15 injured, some critical, some minor. We don't have the exact numbers yet.
During the second day of Iberia Parish's annual Lao New Year festival, a itinerant man became impaired while driving, striking multiple people with his car.
They are determining that they do not believe it was an intentional incident.
According to Louisiana State Police, 57-year-old Todd Landry showed signs of being impaired while driving, submitted to a breathalyzer test, and blew 0.137%.
The driver was arrested.
Landry's been booked into the Iberia Parish Jail for driving while impaired, 18 counts of first-degree negligent injury, careless operation, and open container. Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office is leading the investigation, but several other agencies were still assisting on scene at the time.
We had New Iberia Police Department, Louisiana State Police, Broussard PD, Acadian was here, and Iberia Parish Fire District.
In a statement, Oxnard Lafayette General Medical Center said they are unable to confirm specific patient numbers or conditions as the situation remains dynamic. And I wasn't alone out there in Iberia Parish. We're bringing you team coverage of the incident as Anthony Council listened in on your stories of what happened.
It was a moment that no one expected here in New Iberia at the Lao New Year celebration. I spoke with one family that were inches away when everything unfolded. What was meant to be a day of celebration quickly turned into chaos when a car drove into a crowd during a Lao New Year's festival. One witness, Eli Anderson, says it all started like any other parade.
Listening to music, getting sprayed with water, having fun. And I noticed a guy get into his car, he starts revving his engine, and he inches closer to the parade. I just simply thought that he was coming to join the parade because the car was kind of nice. He inches closer and closer, revs his engine again, and just plows through everybody.
In an instant, confusion turned into fear. Eli couldn't believe what he was seeing.
In that moment, my brain just stopped. I just thought, like, is this, like, actually happening?
As people ran for safety, parents rushed to their children. Eli's mom was desperate to make sure her son was safe. But when she got there, the scene around her felt like she stepped into a nightmare.
Was able to locate him and my friend safely. And then once I found them, I started looking around and you just saw bodies everywhere. And it was just, I don't know, it was like a twilight zone, like this wasn't real.
Deja Henry, who takes care of children, it was a rough scene to grasp.
My first thought was them. It was the kids that was on the back of the golf cart. And where were they? Because all I saw was everyone flying and pushing off to the side.
And for Janice Trahan, her niece and grandchild caught in the action of it all.
Both on the back of the golf cart, so both of them flew opposite directions. Because of the hit, when he hit the golf cart, they both flew, and then the golf cart went sideways, so my brother-in-law and my other niece also flew off the golf cart.
We reached out to several local hospitals, and Oxnard Lafayette General Medical Center confirmed to us that they are treating some of those injured in the incident. In a statement, a representative of the medical center said, quote, "Our teams are focused on providing the highest level of care, but for the patient's privacy, they weren't able to share any information with us about the condition of any individuals that were injured." The Louisiana Loud New Year Festival also released a statement on their Facebook page saying they canceled much of tonight's festivities due to lack of security since most personnel were redirected to the incident site. As for tomorrow, the festival will reopen only the religious services and vendors if security resources are restored. The festival also offered prayer for the victims and their families.
It has been quite a rainy Saturday. We've been dealing with showers off and on and pretty much this entire day. But the cold front is still continuing to push through the south. And we still got some heavy rainfall for portions of Acadiana as of now. Luckily, the severe weather threat has diminished, so not expecting that for the rest of tonight. But we'll still have some heavy rainfall pushing into portions of Iberia and St. Mary parishes for the rest of tonight. Then we got a few lingering showers back out there towards Lake Charles. So Allen, Evangeline, and a good bit of St. Landry Parish staying pretty dry, but it is raining a little bit more around Roe Bridge, Lafayette, some moderate rainfall there, even near the coast, a few scattered thunderstorms around Intercoastal City and Forked Island, but luckily still no severe weather to be dealing with or even some strong storms out there, just some heavy rainfall pushing through over the next hour or two, but luckily we'll see a break in between the rainfall further into Sunday morning. Rain chances are a lot lower for tomorrow, but they're not at zero. We can still get some scattered showers through the late morning hours and even for the afternoon, but temperatures will be a little bit more cooler out there in the 60s. So overall on Easter Sunday, we got the rainfall mostly in the morning and a few scattered showers towards the afternoon, but it'll be much drier headed into the late afternoon hours and the evening hours. So if you do have those outdoor plans, you may want to plan accordingly and keep the umbrella nearby, but those temperatures will be cooler, mostly in the upper 60s.
A crash this afternoon in Acadia Parish killed 60-year-old Gerald Patio, a former NBA player and Acadiana native. The crash happened on Ebenezer Road near Addy Drive, where Patio's vehicle struck a culvert and he was ejected. Patio was pronounced dead at the scene. Now turning to national news, a new memo from the Justice Department says President Donald Trump can hold on to government documents when he leaves office. The memo goes against a Watergate-era law. It requires presidents upon leaving the White House to hand over government documents from their time in office to the National Archives. The law also makes records accessible to future administrations, Congress, and eventually to the public. The DOJ's Office of Legal Counsel provides legal advice to the executive branch. In its opinion issued Thursday, it said the Presidential Records Act is unconstitutional. Government watchdog groups say this represents another example of the Trump administration standing in the way of transparency. They also say it's another swipe at the National Archives for its role that spurred the criminal case Trump faced for allegedly mishandling national defense materials. Now turning to the latest in the war with Iran, President Trump released a video showing intense bombing inside Iran. The war is now entering its 6th week, and the president warns Iran has 48 hours to strike a deal or face the consequences. This comes as the U.S. military continues its search for the missing U.S. airmen. Here's ABC's Allison Cossack with the latest.
President Trump posting this video on his social media site today. He says it shows intense bombing inside Iran, claiming many of Iran's military leaders are terminated along with much else. The president with a warning for Iran, giving them just 2 days to make a deal or open up the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's oil passes. Writing, "Time is running out, 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them. Glory be to God." Since the war began, the price of oil on global markets has skyrocketed, the impact being felt here at home. The national average for a gallon of gas now over $4. Domestic airfares are also climbing, up as much as 20% as millions of Americans look to book summer travel. Companies are now passing increased fuel costs onto consumers. Amazon, FedEx, and UPS all adopting fuel surcharges for certain items. Meanwhile, the U.S. military is still searching for a missing U.S. airman after an American fighter jet was shot down in the western part of Iran. The 2 crew members on board were forced to eject Friday. Only one has been rescued. Iran now offering a $60,000 reward for the capture of the missing U.S. service member.
It is dangerous because we will take a lot of risk to recover an isolated person, which means that we will fly lower. We may also insert troops onto the ground.
Pakistan's foreign minister says efforts to bring the U.S. and Iran to the bargaining table are right on track, but no substantial progress appears to have been made, with the daily exchanges of fire only escalating. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
Gas prices continue to rise here in Louisiana, too. According to Gas Buddy, the average price per gallon sits at $3.76 today. That's up 20 cents from just last week and is 90 cents higher than last month's average. Now let's take a look at gas prices in your area.
Welcome back, Acadiana. Let's start off with the radar, and luckily we're not dealing with any severe weather or strong storms for that matter. For that fact, just got some light to heavy rainfall moving through portions of Acadiana. So looking at the bigger picture, most of the rainfall is in Vermilion Parish. We also have light to moderate rainfall stretching from Lafayette into northern St. Martin parishes, and luckily this rainfall will come to an end shortly in the next hour or so, as St. Mary Parish will be up for the rainfall. So getting a closer look at areas around I-10 and north, Lafayette still dealing with some rainfall out there, even for Doosan and Youngsville, Bro Bridge, and further south, most of Vermilion Parish got the heavy rainfall as of now. We got a few lightning strikes just north of Sippermore Point, New Iberia, a few lightning strikes there, but once again, nothing severe. These storms will continue to push off towards the east for tonight. Now, here are the rainfall totals from the last 12 to 24 hours. Most of everyone had about an inch or a little bit over. Highest rainfall amounts around that Louisiana and Mississippi border, about 4 inches there. Also back towards Vernon Parish, Allen Parish, around a 1 inch mark. But we've got some areas that didn't see any rainfall at all for today. But the areas that did get the rainfall, that will benefit the drought conditions. So it'll help to alleviate just a little bit, but not put a major dent in the ongoing drought conditions. So we still have that moderate risk for heavy rainfall tonight as that cold front continues to push off towards the east. And once this rainfall gets out of here, we'll be pretty much dry for the rest of tonight, but still got a few showers that can push through around tomorrow morning. So we can only add about another 1/4 inch for tomorrow, and then we'll be dry coming up for Monday and Tuesday before another series of the services push through for the middle of next week towards the end. So time it out for the rest of tonight. Still have some scattered showers out there, but overall most of the rainfall should be out of here around daybreak, but still want to keep the umbrella nearby just in case we get a few lingering showers further into the morning and for the afternoon. But after that, very dry conditions for the rest of Sunday. It will be a thick cloud coverage for tomorrow, but temperatures will be a lot cooler in the 60s, but it also will be on the windy side of things as gusts will be up to about 25 miles per hour for tomorrow. As we look further into the week, rain chances at 0 for Monday and Tuesday, but it will be back on the rise Wednesday and so on. And right now, Friday is holding a chance for the best, holding the highest rain percentage for showers and thunderstorms, and right now that's sitting at least 50%. So rainfall for Wednesday through at least Thursday, almost a 1/2 inch for majority of Acadiana, so still will be beneficial to us with the ongoing drought conditions here in Acadiana. So tomorrow is also Easter. Temperatures are very nice nice in the 60s. And like I said before, we'll be dealing with some cloudy skies out there with most of the shower activity in the morning. May have a few lingering showers in the afternoon, but overall very dry. I'll just keep the umbrella handy just in case we do have that passing shower. But after tomorrow, once that cold front comes through, temperatures will be a lot cooler into the low 50s early on Monday, dropping into at least the upper 40s early on Tuesday. But overall, those highs very nice in the 70s, so that'll be what we typically see for the springtime. After that, we'll be right back into the upper 70s and low 80s with higher rain chances Wednesday and through the end of the 10-day forecast. Friday still hold the spot for the highest rain chances, but we'll still return to that warm and humid pattern. Stay tuned. We'll have another look at the 10-day forecast later in the show.
Now that you've seen your Easter forecast, coming up, we're taking a look at one event happening here in Lafayette Parish tomorrow. But before we get to that, the first American Pope makes history. Plus, he gives his latest comments on the U.S. war with Iran. Stay tuned. Yesterday, Christians around the world observed Good Friday, including here in Acadiana. This is what the faithful recognize as the day Jesus was crucified and died. This is Pope Leo's first Holy Week. The American Pope has been outspoken against the Trump administration for its war with Iran. ABC's Perry Rossum is in New York.
Pope Leo, the first American pope carrying the cross on Good Friday, as Christians gather at the Colosseum in Rome, watching the way of the cross. Leo walking to the 14 stations representing the path Jesus took, from being condemned to death to his crucifixion and burial. Leo becoming the first pope in decades to carry the cross to all 14 stations. Earlier in the day, Leo presiding over the Passion of the Lord service at St. Peter's Basilica. Good Friday commemorates Jesus' death ahead of a central belief in Christianity, his resurrection 2 days later on Easter Sunday. It comes as the American Pope has been outspoken on the U.S.'s war with Iran.
I'm told that President Trump recently stated that he would like to end the war. I hope that he's looking for an off-ramp.
On Palm Sunday in front of the faithful, Pope Leo said God does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war, but rejects them. The White House responding this week.
I don't think there's anything wrong with our military leaders or with the president calling on the American people to pray for our service members and those who are serving our country overseas. In fact, I think it's a very noble thing to do.
Today, Pope Leo presiding over an Easter vigil. That is when he will baptize new Catholics, followed by Easter Sunday, marking the first time an American Pope will celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. Perry Russum, ABC News, New York.
What comes after Good Friday? That's right, Easter Sunday. In celebration of tomorrow's holiday, the Lafayette Memorial Park Cemetery is holding its Easter sunrise service. That's happening at 7 a.m. inside the Peace Chapel Mausoleum. For more information on that or any other Easter event, check out our list over at katc.com. And Easter candy prices are soaring. Coming up next, learn why you're paying more for less candy this holiday. And speaking of tough times in the grocery store, we're also going to be taking a look back at some of our top stories from across Acadiana this week, including the citation of one Lafayette Parish School Board member who was caught shoplifting. More on that later in the show. The Easter Bunny might need a bigger budget this year because candy prices are hopping higher. Scripps News Group's Elizabeth Thanmeter shows us the not-so-sweet surprise hitting shoppers this Easter.
If your Easter basket is feeling a little lighter this year, you're not making it up, you're not imagining it in your head. A new study found that Easter candy has gone up 67% since 2020. This is all according to a study from Investors Observer. But here's the problem. Family budgets only up 15%. That gap is hitting you right at checkout. A family of four spending $93 on Easter candy, same as a few years ago, is now getting about 40% less candy. Want the same amount you got in 2020? Well, you're going to have to spend around $155. That's $62 more for the exact same candy. Higher costs playing into this, but also you're getting less.
There's also what's called shrinkflation, where the actual product itself is actually shrinking in size. So prices are higher and the quantity is also lower.
Take Cadbury mini eggs. That bag quietly shrank from 10 ounces to 9 ounces with no price drop. The Hershey's chocolate bar, one of the biggest offenders. It's the same size, but the price per ounce has gone up almost 100%. Join me on news5cleveland.com right now. I got some tips and tricks to help you save money while you're filling up those Easter baskets. For News 5, I'm Elizabeth Van Mitri.
But some good news for your wallet. The Internal Revenue Service says the average refund is up by more than 10% this filing season. The IRS says tens of millions of Americans have filed their 2025 taxes with an average refund amount of just under $3,600. More than 98% of filers had their funds issued via direct deposit, and more than 80% of refunds were issued within 21 days. Just a reminder, the April 15th deadline to file your 2025 tax return is quickly approaching. After the break, we're back to the bad news for consumers as we take a look back at one of our top stories this week, dealing with the prices at the pump and how it's impacting local farmers. That's coming up next. And later in the show, one last look at your weather forecast ahead of Easter Sunday. Don't go anywhere. We're taking a look back now at some of our top stories this week, beginning Monday in Lafayette Parish, where a state district judge made the decision to give those who oppose the Como High School closure more time to build their case. The judge denied a temporary restraining order to stop the Lafayette Parish school system from closing the campus, but did grant a continuance. The school system objected to the delay, saying they need to make decisions about the closure now. The legal battle continues, with the judge hearing the request for an injunction on April 13th. Speaking of LPSS, one board member was cited for a misdemeanor Tuesday after being caught shoplifting at a Super One in Karen Crow. According to Karen Crow police, store surveillance caught Chad DeZormo bagging multiple items at self-checkout, but only scanning and paying for 2. DeZormo allegedly admitted to the theft. Despite the school board's statement calling the incident a, quote, personal legal matter not connected to his role, DeZormo submitted his resignation from the board the day after the incident. But that resignation is not official until the Secretary of State receives it. Once received, a special election will be held with an interim appointment expected in the coming weeks. DeZormo has not made a public comment on the situation. Another top story this week, the price of fuel. And from the pump to the field, rising diesel prices are putting pressure on local farmers. One local sugarcane farmer told KATC he uses between 5,000 and 10,000 gallons of diesel a week and says those costs are cutting into every part of his operation, from planting to moving the crop to the mill. Scoring the best deal on diesel can be as simple as checking prices online or through apps. We'll have all that information plus more details on all of these stories over on KATC.com.
Stay tuned after the break. We'll have one last look at the 10-day.
Still have.
So this is our last look at the radar. We still got some heavy rainfall in Vermilion Parish, and this will eventually push over Sempermore Point into St. Mary Parish. And after this, that'll be the last of the rainfall, but we still have some lingering shower activity headed into tomorrow and Easter. Temperatures will be a lot cooler into the low 60s, and we'll also have plenty of clouds to go around. Now, further in the week, we'll have some higher rain chances. And right now, let's toss it over to Anna.
And that's all for us tonight on Acadiana's News Channel at 10. Thank you so much for watching. We'll have all the latest for you tomorrow night at 5:30 and 10. Tune in with us then. Until then, have a great night.